Imagine waking up one morning and everything feels just a little off. You can't quite put your finger on it. Maybe your favorite mug is in a different spot, or that painting on the wall looks slightly skewed, but you're sure you didn't touch it. It's almost as if, in the blink of an eye, the world has subtly shifted. What if I told you this feeling could be more than just coincidence? What if these tiny changes were signs that you've stepped into a new version of reality without even realizing it? Yes, parallel realities. The idea that there are infinite versions of you and the world coexisting at the same time. It's a concept that's not just for sci-fi movies, it's something that quantum physics is seriously exploring. And the implications are wild. Think about it. Each decision, thought and emotion you experience can shift you imperceptibly into a new reality. You might not notice these changes most of the time. They can be subtle, like when you suddenly realize you took a slightly different route to work, or when an old memory feels just a little different from how you remember it. But every now and then, these shifts can be profound, shaking the very foundation of what you believe is real. So how can this understanding change your life? What if, by recognizing these shifts, you could start to direct them, to align yourself with the version of reality you truly want to live in? Stay with me, because today, we're diving deep into the signs that you may have already shifted into a parallel reality, and how becoming aware of these subtle transitions can empower you to take control of your life's direction. Parallel realities, at their core, suggest that life is not linear but fluid, constantly moving, constantly changing. The version of you that is sitting here now watching this video might not be the same as the version of you that existed just a minute ago. In fact, it's highly likely that you're subtly shifting realities all the time. But you might only notice the change after it has already taken place. It's not that you move through a portal or wake up in a completely different world, but rather the shifts happen gradually, almost like turning the page in a book. And this, my friends, is where the power of transformation lies. Every decision, no matter how small, can lead to a new path. Picture your life as an ocean of possibilities, with each wave representing a new reality. As you make decisions, the waves reorganize, leading you to a new version of your world. Sometimes these waves create a barely perceptible ripple, while other times they cause a tidal wave of change. So, how do you know when you've shifted into a new reality? Let's explore some signs that might suggest you've already stepped into a different version of your life. One of the most common signs is small, unexplainable changes in your environment. For instance, have you ever been certain about where you left something, like your phone or your keys, only to find them in a completely different spot? You may shrug it off, blaming your memory, but what if it's more than that? What if, in that moment, you had shifted into a slightly different version of reality? These tiny adjustments, objects out of place, things not being quite as you remember, are often the first indicators that you've moved between parallel worlds. The truth is, these shifts happen all the time. Most of the time they're so subtle that we hardly notice them. But when you start paying attention to these seemingly insignificant details, you'll begin to notice a pattern. It's like noticing that someone's changed the background music in a restaurant, but you didn't notice exactly when it happened. These shifts are gradual, but they're happening all around you. Now let's talk about déjà vu. That strange sensation when you feel like you've experienced a moment before. But something about it is slightly different. It's like reliving a scene from a dream, but with a twist. Déjà vu might just be one of the most noticeable signs that you've shifted into a new reality. It's as if you're brushing up against a parallel version of yourself, one who's lived through that moment in a slightly different way. And then there's the flip side of déjà vu, the Mandela Effect. This happens when large groups of people remember something a certain way, but the reality doesn't match. For example, many people vividly recall Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, even though he lived until 2013. Or how about the famous children's book series, The Berenstain Bears? Lots of people swear it used to be spelled Berenstein. These discrepancies might be more than just false memories. They could be the result of mass shifts in reality. where entire groups of people transition from one version of reality to another without noticing. Let's take a moment to consider memory itself. Have you ever thought about how malleable your memories are? Neuroscientists tell us that every time you recall a memory, your brain rewrites it. It doesn't just pull out an exact copy from the archives, it reshapes and reinterprets that memory based on your current emotions, thoughts, and experiences. Now, let's add the idea of parallel realities into the mix. Every time you shift realities, your memories might shift too. That embarrassing event from high school you remember so clearly? In another reality, maybe it didn't play out the way you think it did. Your brain is constantly adapting, restructuring neural connections to fit the current version of reality you're in. And that's not just speculation, it's rooted in science. The brain's ability to reorganize itself based on new experiences is known as neuroplasticity. Each time you access a memory, it is subtly edited to fit your current version of reality. So if you suddenly remember something differently than before, it could be that your reality has shifted and your brain has updated your memories to reflect this new version of events. But the most profound shifts often happen during moments of intense emotion or crisis. Have you ever had a near-miss accident, like narrowly avoiding a car crash, and afterward you feel a sense of disbelief? It's as if the event happened in slow motion, and somehow, against all odds, you walked away unharmed. These moments of heightened emotion may trigger shifts into parallel realities. In one version of reality, the accident might have occurred, but in another, perhaps the one you're in now, you escaped unscathed. These breaks in continuity, when time seems to freeze or stretch, are often clear signs that you've jumped from one reality to another. Your consciousness may have moved into a version of your life where the outcome was more favorable. And afterward, you're left wondering, how did I get so lucky? But maybe it wasn't luck at all. Maybe it was a shift in reality. The key to mastering these shifts lies in awareness. If you can recognize when these subtle transitions occur, you can begin to harness the power of parallel realities for your own personal evolution. Instead of being a passive observer, you become an active participant in shaping your reality. Each small adjustment, a new thought, a change in perspective, or a shift in emotion can set you on a path toward a version of yourself that's more in alignment with your highest potential. One of the most effective ways to guide these shifts is through visualization. When you visualize the life you want to live, you create a mental map that your brain follows. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions begin to align with this new version of reality. And over time, you'll notice that your life begins to reflect these visualizations. But it's not just about wishful thinking, it's about tuning into the present moment and making conscious choices that align with the reality you want to live in. Small, consistent actions like adopting new habits or making subtle changes in your daily routine can have a cumulative effect, guiding you into a new version of yourself. If you want to be healthier, start by making small changes in your diet or exercise routine. If you want to feel more confident, practice speaking positively to yourself. These small shifts, when done with intention, can lead to big changes over time. And finally, pay attention to your emotions. They are powerful indicators of whether you are aligned with the reality you desire. When you feel in tune with your emotions, when your energy feels right, the path to your desired reality unfolds smoothly. Life, after all, is not a straight line. It's a series of fluid transitions, constantly shifting and evolving. The more aware you become of these subtle shifts, the more you can direct them toward the reality you want to create. So next time you notice something just a little off, a slight change in your environment, a memory that feels different, or a moment of déjà vu, don't dismiss it. These might be signs that you've already stepped into a new version of reality. The more you recognize these shifts, the more you can harness them for your own growth and transformation. Remember, the power to shape your reality is in your hands. Every choice you make, no matter how small, has the potential to move you into a new version of your life. So why not choose consciously? Why not create the reality you truly want to live in? Thanks for watching, and if this video resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Let's keep exploring the possibilities of reality together.